YouTubers, what's going on? Welcome back to part 2 of the 3-part series of what's my favorite blends. Now, in the first one, we looked at aromatics. Today, we'll be looking at crossovers. And the third one will be everything that's left. Balkans, Englishes, Virginias. So you might ask yourself, what is a crossover blend? Well, when you think of crossing over something, most people think of two things probably. One, they think of crossing over a bridge to get from one side to the other. Another thing that if you're in basketball, they think of crossing it over to go from this side to that side, go around your opponent. A crossover, in my opinion, is probably the hardest blend to make because you're crossing over from maybe an English to an aromatic or an aromatic to an English or whatever blends it is you're crossing over. So it's the bridge, it's in the middle. And the reason it's hard is because you're having to satisfy that aromatic smoker. And there's several different types of aromatic smokers. That's a different video entirely. But some aromatic smokers like a very light. Some aromatic smokers like me like a very big, bold taste. That way they get the flavor with every puff. And then not only are you having to satisfy aromatic smokers, but you're having to satisfy maybe English smokers. And there's a ton. Maybe some people doesn't like Latakia. Maybe some doesn't like, Virginias. It's so hard. It's so hard to please everybody. As you all know, we all have our different taste, and it's so hard to please somebody. Maybe somebody doesn't like burley, so you can taste that. Whatever it may be, that is very hard to satisfy both types of smokers. And so, with that said, crossover blends are probably my one. I don't know if they're my favorite. They're the ones that I reach for the most, I would say. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and look at the crossover blends that I enjoy. We'll just start right here. First one, from the Country Squire. You've seen these in aromatics. This one is Northwest Trek. Northwest Trek. And I will try to get some that are house blends, if you will. We'll look at some of those first. The next one is from, I haven't been smoking this long, but it's a dandy for me. I mean, I'm loving the blend, and that's kind of what these videos are about. Maybe, like I said, I don't want you to go out and spend money on, if you see several of these and you don't like any of the others, I don't want you to buy the ones that you haven't got. But if you like, say, 3 or 4 of these, then maybe you could try, another 2 or 3 or 4 of these that you don't have. So that's kind of what it is. That's hopefully that'll help somebody out there. So anyway, this is a blend that I haven't been smoking long, but I love it. It's Watt City Stardust. Now, another blend that is kind of a house blend, if you will, but it is McSwine's Brimers blend. And this blend is from Dingus's dad. And Dingus sent it to me, what, about 2 months ago now. And it's wonderful. I love it. I don't have much of it, so I can't smoke it as much as I like, but it's a wonderful blend. I think the only one that I have left, the only one that I have left that's kind of a house blend is mine, and that's Stumbo's Caramel Cake. It's been years of a process to get caramel cake, and I love it. I'm not going to brag and say, hey, I did a good job. I'm just going to tell you that for my palate enjoys it. So, Stumbo's Caramel Cake. Now on to the others that's more widely known, if you will. I'm going to start off with a big company, and it's some might disagree and say it's not a crossover. I'm not sure, but anyway, it's from Sutliff, and it's Sutliff Crumble Cake, but it's the barrel aged #1, and it's in an apple barrel, and so the flavor that I get every time I smoke it, it is a Virginia. It's a Virginia, but I taste of nothing but apple, with every puff. Now, I had this discussion with Josh the other day. Josh is one that kind of gave me this idea. Can a Virginia by itself be a crossover? And, I really wasn't under the impression that they could be until me and him spoke. And then he kind of gave me the idea, because it's when most people think of an aromatic, the term English and the term aromatic has changed over time. So the definition of an English has changed. So in 2021, most people think of aromatic as more like the scent that they smell or the scent that they taste, if you will. And although this is a Virginia, it's a straight Virginia blend, the scent that you get is like a caramel apple is what I get. It reminds me of younger days, going to maybe the fair or something like that, and just having that caramel apple. So that's what I get with caramel cake. Now, to go along those lines, this is 2004 blend, and this is Full Virginia Flake by Samuel Galworth. Most people's probably going to say, James, that's not a crossover. That's not a crossover. That's English. Well, I'll go over this again in the next video, because it most likely will be there as well. But anyway, when I smoke this tastes like somebody just took some Hershey chocolate and squirted right in my mouth and just keep with every puff. It tastes like a big bold chocolate that is just delicious. And it's these two are not typical crossovers, and really I didn't really think of them as crossovers, like I said, until me and Josh spoke the other day. But anyway, out of the controversial ones, on to the next. GLP's Gaslight. Some may say this is an aromatic, and that's fine. I put it in the crossover ones. But anyway, it's McBaron Vanilla Roll Cake. Delicious. And we talked about aromatic smokers. You get very little, just a tiny bit of vanilla. There's not much there, on the vanilla, but it has Black Cavendish, Burley, and Virginia in it, and there's a little bit there, but it's a good blend for me. The next one is Esoterica Pembroke. Now, Pembroke, I don't know if you all know, but Pembroke here, I'll show you. Margate. Pembroke is Margate. It's the same blend, except Pembroke has cognac. So that's the difference in those two blends. And that's the reason I include it with the crossover. Because if you wanted just the original or the English version, if you will, then Margate. But if you want kind of the aromatic version of Margate, Pembroke. Now, I don't like Margate, or my palate doesn't like Margate, but my palate loves Pembroke. Next up is Seattle Pipe Clubs, and this is the big one. This is the one, but I've loved this, before. He said it the other day, but the barrel-aged plum pudding by Seattle Pipe Club. It is, it's a delicious, wonderful blend that I've enjoyed for years. And ever since they brought it out, I've enjoyed it. It is delicious. I think, has it been out, what now, 3 years? Is that right? Is that when they come out, 3 years? I don't know. Can't remember. I think it's been, though. Anyway, the next one on my list is, well, it's kind of a house. Well, not really a house blend. I mean, I don't know. It's a company. So, Boswell's Northwoods. And Northwoods is what everybody says is the match to Frogmorton Cellar. And it's definitely got some of those Frogmorton Cellar vibes. But it's not a perfect match. I don't think there's any blend out there that is a Frogmorton Cellar match. Frogmorton Cellar's in a class of its own. But anyway, this is a delicious blend. I love it. My palate loves it. Boswell's Northwoods. Now, last but not least, we just talked about it. Frogmorton Cellar. I've heard people call this an aromatic as well. So, once again, if you don't agree that it's a crossover, that's fine. We can all have our, like I said, I didn't see a Virginia as a crossover, but then when you think about it, why not include it? Well, Frogmorton Cellar is my favorite blend of all time. If you know me, you know that. That is my number one blend. That is my favorite blend. And I consider it a crossover blend because it does have some aromatic and it does have some English tendency. It is a Virginia and it's a Latakia blend. And as I've said, there's been people trying to recreate the McClellan's Frogmorton Cellar since they went out in 2018. There's some that you kind of get that little vibe, but it's not a match. When I think of match, being a coach, I think of you matching somebody. So, like in a game of horse, if you will, one player shoots and they score the bucket, and then you got to stand in the same spot and shoot, and you got to match them and make the bucket as well. So you got to do the same thing they do, and that's what I think of match. It matches what the person does or what the company does. Frogmorton Cellar, there's no matching it. They hit the bucket. They stood in the spot. They shot the shot. It went through the hoop. There's been nobody else. They hit the rim. These blends, they hit the rim. They're close. Right there. They didn't go through the hoop. And that's my opinion on it. Everybody has their own, and that's fine. That is perfectly fine. like I said, this is the second part series of the blends I enjoy. This has been fun for me, especially like the Virginia, that was kind of fun because I really didn't think of them as like a crossover. And then, like I said, Josh got me thinking, and they, have some fun. So anyway, the third part will be coming out Monday, and that'll be on Englishes, be on everything else, Englishes, Balkans, Virginias, and you might see full Virginia flake in that video as well. But anyway, I thank you very much for watching. Thank you all for all the comments, all the love. I appreciate everything that you all do for supporting me. Thank you very much. As always, I hope that you're smoking the blends that you love and the pipes that you love. Have a good day. See ya.